Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Cooking on the Fly. This week, we'll be making pasta caprese. To start off with, here are the ingredients. Olive oil, basil, cherry tomatoes, my favorite type of tomato, fresh mozzarella, garlic salt, black pepper, and penne pasta. Now this is one of my favorite dishes to make because it's so simple and the ingredients are also fresh. So when making this dish, the first thing you want to do is start boiling some water, which essentially just means you want your water to become hot enough where it starts to bubble. Then what you're going to do is you're going to add some salt and your penne to the boiling water. Now, I've already got some penne that's been boiling, and I've already cleared off all the water, so if you want to do that, all you do is just add your penne to a colander or something like that and just allow all the water to drain out. So I'm going to grab the penne that I've already been boiling. What I'm going to do is add this penne to this little dish right here. And as you can see, I like my pasta kind of al dente, so it's kind of a little bit tougher than some people might like their pasta. It's not completely soft, but that's just my preference. Okay. Next what we're going to do is we're going to cut up the other ingredients that go into this pasta. So first, the cherry tomatoes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut these in half and wash these. Can't forget to be healthy. And I'm just going to take the tops off because no one really wants to eat these. So just rip them off like so. Bring them over to the sink. Wash them off, don't want to get anyone sick. And I'm going to take my knife, grab it from the base, my index finger and my thumb around the base, and the rest of my 3 fingers at the top. The handle, and I'll just grab my tomatoes, downward and forward, downward and forward. And you can use as many tomatoes as you'd like. I like a lot of tomatoes, so it looks like for the amount of pasta we have, this will be a good amount of tomatoes. But if you're not that big of a fan of tomatoes, you don't need to use as many tomatoes as I am. Alright, so now that we've got these tomatoes sliced up, we'll next move on to the basil. So you're going to take your tomatoes, which I'm having trouble grabbing for some reason, and just throw them into your dish, like this. Next what you're going to want to do is a little technique that my mom showed me. It's called a chiffonade. So what you're going to do is take a couple leaves of basil, roll them up, like so. So you have a nice little roll like this. That wasn't supposed to happen. Alright, now grab your scissors and just cut diagonally along the rolled up basil that you have. And you're just going to get little pieces that come off into your pasta, and what they should look like is once they unfurl, the nice little pieces like this that you typically find on a piece of pizza or something like that. So you can just kind of break them up with your hands once you've done this and put them in with your pasta. But this is essentially the idea behind the chiffonade. You get nice long strands of basil that you can integrate throughout your dish. There we go. So I tend to like a little more basil than that, so I'm going to cut up a few more leaves of basil. Now, you could do this with dry basil, but it just doesn't have the same flavor and the same texture to the overall dish that fresh basil does. So, for me, I wouldn't even make this dish unless I had fresh basil. I don't know, you can call me a food snob. Alright, so like I said, we're just going to spread out these little pieces of basil throughout the dish. Get a little spoon to mix them around with. And as I said earlier, your dish is going to start to become very colorful. Finally, what we're going to do, we're going to take the fresh mozzarella. The kind I'm using is ciliegine, I don't know, cherry size, whatever that means in Italian. And scoop some out, like so. And then, as with your tomatoes, you're going to grab your knife, chop it the proper way, and just cut it in half. Or it depends how big of pieces of mozzarella you want. So You can cut it even smaller into quarters or whatnot, but half is good for me. So there we go. Just keep cutting little pieces in half, and half again. All right, and then you pick it all up, grab it, throw it in your dish. Pretty simple. Now, if you're just making this for yourself, you kind of just toss this around with your hands. For other people, though, you don't want them to think you're weird with your food or anything. Just mix around with the spoon. Next, what we're going to do is add a little salt. Now, don't add too much because remember, you were supposed to have added salt to the boiling water, so your pasta would get a little saltiness cooked into it. But, you know, if there wasn't enough salt added, just add a little over the pasta, not too much. A little pepper, nothing too spicy, but, you know, just a little flavor to add. Alright, also gives it a nice little black color to contrast with all the other lighter colors of this dish. And a little olive oil. This is a little trick that one of my friends showed me. Put your thumb over the top of the olive oil and just kind of release it every so often to let out olive oil. This way, you prevent too much olive oil from spilling into your dish. And you can kind of control it a little better and regulate it. Alright, and finally, the garlic salt, which I happen to have lost, but recovered. Just add a little bit of this in. Gives you a little bit of garlic flavor, but you already got the salt, so you don't want too much saltiness, and you also don't want the garlic salt, which is very powerful, to overpower the dish. So just pour a little in, just for flavor. And then, give this one final stir, mix everything around. Grab a fork, pick up everything you can, as much as you can in one forkful. See, I got my pasta, my basil leaf, my mozzarella, all in one. Oh, oops, and enjoy. And that's how you cook on the fly.